Do 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 do. Oh, hey, what's up? It's the Side Quest Live, your weekly journey into the wonderful world of video games. How are my levels? My levels okay? My microphone, hot mic. Let me adjust this mic. I'm solo this week because Taylor's traveling and his internet sucks. JJ has no air conditioning in his basement, in his dungeon, so it's like 97 degrees there. So he's not going to be broadcasting. And Zach is asleep, or he forgot, or he has an excuse. No, Zach doesn't think that there's enough to talk about from his end. Guess what? I still have some awesome stuff to talk about. I am Dolly Domofsky. You can see my name right there, Dolly Domofsky, at Dolly Domofsky. Please feel free to follow me or yell at me, whatever. Definitely follow us at SideQuesting on all the social stuff. And please, if you're listening to this on a podcast somewhere, if you're watching us on YouTube or on Twitch, please rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. It really does help. It gets our name out there, and it gets us more access to some of the coolest content that's happening in the world of video games. So yeah, I think it's important for y'all to do that. Spread the word, okay? Unky Dolly says so. However, just because it's a solo show doesn't mean we're not going to have good fun and conversation. Please feel free. There'll be comments popping up somewhere on the bottom of the screen there from folks who are watching, potentially, if anybody is. Feel free to comment on the stream, comment in the comments, tweet at us. That always helps too. I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. Let's get into news, which is where we always start each week. And thought it was going to be a slow news week. We're kind of in the middle of summer right now. There's typically not a lot happening around this time frame. There's never really any good news, I guess, and any news that does come out tends to be bad news. And hey, guess what? There's some bad news popped up. We spoke about some of the cool stuff at Comic-Con last week. Back into the gaming aspect. Well, let's get right into it. VR has been tumultuous, right? Obviously, everyone knows that VR has kind of hit a weird impasse at the moment where people aren't sure if they want to get into VR, if there's enough content coming out for it. Did it hit its peak a couple of years ago with the PlayStation VR? We don't know. What we do know is that companies are finding it more difficult to potentially invest in VR. Definitely companies like Facebook, Meta, as they've just jacked up the prices for some reason on the Quest 2 headset. So you can see right there where it was $299. Today's the last day you can get it for $299. Starting tomorrow, midnight tonight, it's going to be $399.99 for the low-end version, $499 for the high-end version. $100 jump in price. Woo! Oh, man. This is something that I think is just absolutely bonkers. You don't really know what you're doing from a business standpoint when you're raising the price on technology like this. I don't recall ever that game companies or a company's raising the price of a gaming product due to whatever reason. The Switch was super popular over the pandemic. Obviously, its number soared. Nintendo could have very well raised the price of the Switch, but they didn't. In fact, they didn't because they released the Switch OLED version for an extra $50, and or instead of bringing the price up of everything, they said, "Hey, by the way, here's a brand new version." Other companies have done similar things. We hear about multiple SKUs all the time during hardware launches. Obviously, the Series S and the Series X, maybe the Series R later. PlayStation 5 with the digital and the disc-based version. Companies don't raise the prices afterwards, but there's Facebook, there's Meta raising the price by $100 on a device that's plentiful. I don't know if they realize what they're doing. What they should, they say, yeah, you're gonna get a free copy of Beat Saber. Well, cool. That's good. Thanks for a game that I can probably get on sale in a lot of different places, for a lot less than the $50 or $100. Definitely not worth $100. Great game, by the way. You come out with a new version, is what you do. You come out with a version that's higher end, and then you slowly phase out the older, cheaper model, right? You say, all right, this is going to be, we need to bump the price up to $399. So what do we do there? All right, we'll increase we'll make the strap quality better. We'll introduce new colors. We'll introduce, memberships or something that they'll pack in to make a premium version. And then slowly work out the other cheaper version. You don't just do it all at once. It's such a bizarre move by Meta. There's a conspiracy theorist in me somewhere here that says they're gonna, at the last second tomorrow morning, they're gonna say, oh, we saw all the outpouring. We saw everybody buying a bunch of quests over the last couple of weeks. So we're gonna keep the price the same, which is, that's the conspiracy theorist in me. This is all just some big marketing play. It's not a big marketing play. It really is Meta doing a really just bizarre move. They're saying it's to help kind of reinvest in their whole metaverse. Obviously, this is the first year that Facebook, Meta, whatever, didn't make or the first quarter that they didn't make a profit. Take that for as you will. I guess this group is the metaverse group is like losing money, bleeding money. So yeah, I'm not sure. Raising the price is like the opposite of what you want to do. You see it in cars, but it's only happening in cars right now, and vehicles and some other products due to logistical issues, due to things like that. You don't necessarily see it in existing electronic items. But hey, whatever. That's Mark Zuckerberg for you, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's his MO. Other news, actual good hardware news, which is sort of the offset of that in a way. I mentioned that Meta, who have had good sales of the Quest, JJ has one. I think there's somebody else in SideQuesting staff that has one. That you can go to the store and pick them up. Something you can't go into the store and get, and you probably maybe never will, is the SteamDeck. Surprise, Valve said, hey, great news. I'll share the tweet here. Great news. If you have your reservation in, you're going to get it by the end of this year, baby. They got all the supply chain. And really, it's not a parts issue right now. It's a supply chain issue, which means there's logistic aspects. There's all kinds of things that kind of lead up to. There may be enough chips available for the Steam Deck. There may be enough stuff for the hardware. It's the it's all the stuff that goes from then on. There's shipping constraints. There's there's workers. There's all kinds of stuff that factor into this. So looks like they got a lot of that cleared up. Anybody, this has a bunch of folks got moved up to Q3 from Q4, but now everybody's getting theirs by the end of the year, which is cool. A lot of folks reserved their device and willing to wait it out. I mean, I did. I was lucky enough to be one of the first few, I guess, in the first batch. I know Taylor got his soon after me. There have certainly been other products that do that from like smaller boutique companies. Obviously, I mentioned the Playdate, the Analog Pocket, that kind of stuff, where they're smaller companies that are pumping out these these products. Valve is a giant company, massive company, one of the largest companies in gaming, and they're not able to get product out there. Now, is a Steam Deck popular? Potential. I mean, it's popular amongst Steam users, which there are millions of Steam users, obviously. It's popular again for this subset of gamers. The subset, this niche PC gaming group, really wants to take their, want to take their PC games with them. And it's also, I've mentioned in the past, it's a great way to get people who are sort of tempted to dip their foot into PC gaming to get that into, to get into PC gaming. Is affordable. It's a pretty decently powered system. It's not crazy powered. Obviously, this laptop that I'm recording from has more power than it does. My Xbox and my PS5 have more power than it does, but it gets you that strong foot in the door of those who want to get into gaming. And for those of us that don't want to take their laptop and sit on the couch and watch a TV show and play games, it's also very good. But again, have these mega companies. Valve has access to tons and tons and tons of supply chain issue to suppliers, to partners, where they could pump out as many of these as they can. But on the positive side, optimistic side, anybody who's pre-ordered it again is going to get this by the end of the year. I guess the folks that did are willing to wait a long time. If you pre-ordered your PlayStation 5 in November of 2020 and you were completely fine and okay waiting to November of 2021, would that happen? No, I don't think that would happen. So there definitely is a little bit of a weird dichotomy there of folks who are completely okay waiting to get their Steam Deck versus folks that are not okay waiting for a PS5 for 5 minutes. But yeah, I think that's something that the gaming industry has to figure out which side it falls on. However, I think it's good news. I'm just a little salty that the Steam Deck is still in beta. Sam said the same thing. There are folks out there who say it's totally fine that the Steam Deck isn't a fully finished product. You're not buying it for that bullshit. It's $400. You're buying a Steam Deck. You're buying a product for a shit ton of money. It better be finished. Now, if it was $100, I understand. If it was $200, maybe. Steam Deck is, $4+. So that better be a finished product, because again, if my Xbox showed up, which was $500, and that thing wasn't finished, if there were still software issues, if there were still control issues, and again, I've had issues with my controllers and my analog sticks on this thing and the touchpads, and the buttons are kind of weird, clicky and sticky in this first run, I'd be pissed, rightfully so. We do seem to be giving Valve a big break on this for whatever reason. However, again, I'm going to roll that back. If you've really wanted this and you've been willing to wait that year, your year's coming up, and you're going to get it by the end of this year. So I think it's good news for some of the folks who are interested. I would love to see, again, and we've spoken about it on the show many times, I want to see what a Steam Deck 2 is going to look like. And I have faith that Valve is going to iterate faster than the console manufacturers. I think we'll see the first whispers of the Steam Deck 2, or the proper first Steam Deck, because they're going to learn a lot from this within the next year. This time next year, next June, someone will be talking about, if this stays the trajectory it is now. I believe they're going to be talking about the next iteration of the Steam Deck and how make it more user friendly, make it more product design friendly, make it more robust, because it's not robust, it rattles, and so on. There's a lot you can learn from it. This is Valve's very, very, very first piece of hardware. They've never created hardware, and they certainly have never created a user interface in the past. Just kidding. They haven't changed the Steam interface, the Steam design, since like 2004. But good news there for Steam Deck. One more bit of bad news, though. Sorry. Well, she's speaking to me. Things have been very sensitive with the watch lately. I have no idea why. She picks up on all my conversations. If you've been looking forward to, so we're in this big remake, remaster portion of gaming right now, right? There's a lot of projects. They're brand new projects, big projects, AAA projects being invested in. The way to get money for a lot of these projects is to port, remaster, and remake a lot of these older games, right? Because it's less of an investment typically to do some of those things, and it brings in a lot of money. Aspire, who are port specialists basically they have been in the past for stuff like Star Wars games, for all kinds of games, really, for a lot of existing games across different platforms. They've worked with, basically everybody to get games on iPad and get games on Switch and get games on PlayStation and Xbox and PC and move stuff around. Very talented group. So they decided, let's make our own reboot, our own remake, I should say, of Knights of the Old Republic, a game which I don't think needs a remake. I think it's still a pretty good game. But they said, let's make our own version. Let's Final Fantasy VII remake this biznash and do it. Well, hey, bad news. That's a lot harder when you're when you don't necessarily typically do that kind of work. And so they're developing this game from the ground up and minimize it. Apparently it ain't going so well. So it is, the game has been paused. Development has been paused, which is not a good sign. If development's ever put on hold on a project, it means there are some major issues. So right now, Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg says, it's paused. Everything he's heard from several sources, there's a big studio shakeup happening. Just stuff is not working together. They initially wanted to get this game out in 2022, right? This year, for the end of this year. That was sort of the initial talk when they first debuted this last year or whatever, even before then. And that date has been slipping. That's why you haven't seen any gameplay. You've just seen like a quick little rendered video. That date is slipping, and they're finding it to be very difficult to meet any of that. And if you read the article on Bloomberg, there just seems to be all kinds of issues from leadership standpoint, development standpoint, to the point where I would not be surprised personally if this game never comes out. I really don't think it's ever going to come out. I would have preferred for them to go ahead and make a new, make KOTOR 3. That potentially is the way to go. Trying to remake this massive RPG is difficult for a smaller studio like Aspire. They're not AAA developer like Square Enix, and Square Enix took a long time to do Final Fantasy VII to the point where they had to do it in chunks, right? So you're dealing with it, and they're dealing with it, and we may not be dealing with it ever. The game at the earliest I would, if this game were ever to come out, I would say 2025 at the earliest. It just feels like it's in more development hell than Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4, people like to say it's in development hell. They did reboot Metroid Prime 4 and move it to the devs of Metroid Prime series in general. I don't know who the devs were before then, and now it seems to be in good hands. But yeah, this is not. It's definitely not. So who knows? I don't think it's ever coming out, which is a bummer. So, anyways, that's it for news. Let's move on to some of the things that I've been doing. All right, so three things I want to talk about. One thing these kind of go hand in hand in a weird way. I've been watching this fantastic movie, thanks to Zach mentioning it. It's on Netflix. Zach in the Discord, he kind of brought this up. I love Indian cinema. I love it. There's some fantastic movies, fantastic shows out there. I love it. I love everything about Indian cinema. I love Bollywood. I love the whole scene. And I've got a ton of movies in a DVD format that I used to buy all the time from like Best Buy and Amazon way back in the day, 15 years ago or so. Because I love sort of the epic scale stories that is really popular in that cinema. Maybe it's been around longer than like the Marvel stuff, obviously, and the large scale stuff that comes out of these things. A lot of the characters, they paint them almost as superheroes, and a lot of famous characters, a lot of made up characters. There are some English points, and there's a few other different languages, but you're gonna have to be pretty focused watching it. But it's great. Really, really enjoyed it. And I know it's been brought up in the Discord. Is this movie better than Everything Everywhere All at Once? No. Everything Everywhere All at Once is still my favorite movie of the last couple of years, right? So that's still the highest one. But what I was doing while I was watching this, playing a certain game on said Steam Deck. You guys remember the Steam Deck I was just talking about? The game I was playing is Multiversus, which is a Smash clone for for the several different platforms. PC, obviously Steam, PlayStation, Xbox. And this is Warner Brothers taking all of their characters, Steven Universe, Harley Quinn, you got Arya from Game of Thrones, you got Batman, Superman, Wonder, you got all your favorites are here. And the game is in beta. It's an open beta right now. It's going to run through seasons and all that kind of stuff. It's very much a party fighter. I know a lot of folks don't like to call them party fighters. They think they're like super serious, highly technical fighters, but they are party fighters. The whole purpose of these games when they started was that they were just a stupid fun time. You play with your favorite character. You got Taz pointing his mouth. You got the character that Big Hero 6 is based off of. No, just kidding. Iron Giant. I know. But it's that's the purpose of this game is for fun. If it was meant to be this technically impressive fighter, you'd have much more basic style characters. And this is for the folks that want to play as Wonder Woman and want to play as Superman in a fighting game against Shaggy, against Jake, against whoever. That's what this is for. Now, that aside, there are good technical chops to this that helps. It's actually got some good, I love the double jump aspect. I love the capability to finally get back onto the stage if you get knocked off, which is difficult for me when I play Smash Brothers. Very generous hitboxes from what I've noticed in this game. Much more generous than Smash Bros. I will say this, and maybe it's because everybody's kind of new to the game now, but I'll replay this again. It's been a lot easier to play this game than it has been for Smash Brothers. From my standpoint, again, for the things I just said, and it very well could be that people are just learning these characters right now. But I think the only real faults I have with the game are that, it's fun. First of all, it's fun. I'm having a good time. I'm not sucked into it though, like I was with Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers actually had all these characters I cared about. This is stuck to WB characters, so it's like whether you want Warner Brothers characters or not, you're stuck with them. Enjoy it. Tom and Jerry and Scooby Doo and all that kind of stuff. People I definitely wanted in a fighter. No, it's interesting in that. I think some of the faults that I'm kind of noticing right now, the stages there's not a lot to these stages. There's like a couple little platforms here and there. The Smash Brothers stages they seem larger, they seem more varied, they seem like there's more stuff to do in the stage. This is very much focused on keep the area small and just beat each other up, which I guess is fine. But it's not, it just seems kind of empty from that standpoint. It also seems kind of empty because the roster is very small right now. And really I don't know when new characters are supposed to be added. I think LeBron James is the newest character because he's a very popular WB character. Space Jam, obviously. But I don't know when new characters are going to be added in there. There's certainly a lot to play from, but it's very sparse right now. And but I guess the added the thing that keeps you coming back is earning costumes and earning move sets or whatever, earning tokens, earning all that kind of stuff that sort of goes along with these live service games. And I think from that standpoint, same stuff you see in Fall Guys, same stuff you see in Fortnite, whatever. I think that's actually kind of cool. It's obviously a game, it's a free to play game. But that aspect is what's going to keep me coming back because I want to level up myself. I like having that little carrot dangling in front of me to keep trying to open up new characters, trying to get new costumes and maxing out my character's level, my personal level. So I think that part is actually really cool and something you don't see in Smash Brothers. You didn't see that in Nicktoons, rest in peace. You didn't see it. There's like a lot of indie style fighting games like this. You don't see that in these. And I think going this route is smart. At first, when I heard free to play, I thought, game's dead. Forget it. Free to play. Come on. It's not gonna survive. I actually do think this has legs. Fortnite didn't have any characters when it started. It was just about the fun part. It added characters as it went along, and now you can be, you can be The Rock. You can be 18 different versions of the Rock and his characters in Fortnite. I think that's going to happen with this as well. If DC continues, if Warner Brothers continue working on this, because obviously the stuff with Warner Brothers and Discovery and all that is very, very, I'm going to use tumultuous again, very tumultuous right now. Rumors, there are still persistent rumors they're looking to just axe all their game development stuff, which could kill this. I mean, it really could hurt this before it ever gets off the ground. I've even heard, I think it was Mike Williams at Automatic Zen on Twitter said they may only keep like NetherRealm if WB goes through with it because, they're wondering, why are we investing all this money for such little return when we can focus on some of the actual services and streaming and stuff. So we'll play one more time. That being said, I like it. It's still pretty basic right now. Controls really well. There's a lot of good moves, a lot of moves, a lot of ways to fight. And I think that's really cool. And you really can in this game more so than the Nickelodeon game, more so than a lot of the other, some of the other platform fighters. This, like Smash Brothers, I think really will get people to kind of focus on their favorite characters. And I think that to me is like the way to go. You want to get people to really love a character that they're playing with because they're going to stick with that character and want to actually be good with somebody that they're comfortable with. So anyways, I think it's cool. It's free. Let's go ahead. I do think that one big fault is not putting a Smash Brothers clone on the Smash Brothers console on the Switch, but I actually think part of that might be because the game is still in beta. It's still being developed. They're still trying to figure out enough stuff when it gets far enough, because it's not, I'm playing on the SteamDeck as I'm watching TV all the time. It's not intensive. Even on the SteamDeck, there are some issues because it's not natively made for SteamDeck, but it's not been verified yet. But I do have like some little frame rate things here and there, but for the most part, it's been pretty solid, and it definitely doesn't seem to be, crossplay is great. It definitely doesn't seem to be something that is too intensive for the Switch. So I think it'll still come out for Nintendo's little console, but probably when this sucker exits beta and they got some of the last play, the actual gameplay kinks worked out. But yeah, Multiversus is good stuff. Check it out. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about my absolutely massive backlog. I am trying to get through. A lot of the folks are talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I freaking cannot wait to get into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I ordered it. I ordered this whole cool special edition because I love Xenoblade games. I have every single Xenoblade game. I've got to buy the Switch remake of the first game because I already have the first game on Wii. I have it on 3DS. I have Chronicles X, and I have Xenoblade 2, which I'm playing right now. But I don't have the remake of the first one, and I have 3 coming, obviously. So it's now slowly becoming this weird gotta catch them all thing for me. But that being said, everyone's talking about Xenoblade 3, and they're saying how much of an improvement it is and how it's maxing out the Switch hardware, which, 5 years into the hardware, that's good. I think that's probably about right. We're getting close to the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called the next year. But it's sucking up a lot of my time. I'm actually going in a minute after we're done here. I'm going to go play. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is... I loved 1 because the characters in 1 were very endearing. it was a small group of folks, and you really focused on it. It felt like a big world, right? Very traditional JRPG, with a lot of action built in. Xenoblade 2 definitely pushed in kind of a more broader direction. The world's much bigger in Xenoblade 2, and I'm hearing Xenoblade 3 is like 5 times bigger than 2, which is already boggling my mind. And I poured over 100 hours into Xenoblade 1, so that's on the 3DS. That tells you something. Xenoblade 2 is going to take me forever. But I'm playing Xenoblade 2 now. I've got to finish it before I get into Xenoblade 3. I've decided I'm not going to start it. So I'm curious if other folks have these like very specific backlog lists. Like my backlog list right now, I can hop into any of the action games I want to. I can hop into like some of the more open world stuff like Horizon. I got to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. I got to finish some of the other stuff out there that I have. I think Miles Morales I got to finish, but I can hop into those anytime. But RPGs, if you step away from an RPG for too long, most RPGs take freaking forever to figure out where you're. I mean, you could lose like hours figuring out where you are and sort of restarting areas. God forbid you got like what happened to me. You start playing Dragon Quest, I think it's 6 on the DS, and I'm completely lost. Every time I pick that game up, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. So, and I play for like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, and then I put it away because I still don't kind of know where I'm going, and then I pick it up like months and months later. So I'm still got a ways to go in that game. But I figured I'm gonna put a list together of the RPGs that I've got to knock out before I really get into other stuff. Now, Xenoblade 3 is gonna be the kind of game that I play alongside some of these. I'm finishing up Xenoblade 2 right now. I'm not touching Xenoblade 3 until I finish Xenoblade 2. And then Live Alive. I'm definitely going to do Live Alive. I've started playing that a little bit concurrently, but as soon as Xenoblade 2 is done, I'm finishing off Live Alive because that's only like a 20-hour game. I would not be surprised, actually, if I sneak in Live Alive in between then, and I actually kind of finish them around the same time. My goal is to get both of those done mid-August. So I've got like 2.5, maybe 3 weeks to really knock through this. After that, Pokemon Arceus. I've got to freaking finish Arceus. I'm halfway through that game. I really enjoy that game because of how different it is. Because, hey, guess what? There's a new Pokemon game coming in November. So I've got to finish Arceus. Immediately after I finish Arceus, I've got to finish Triangle Strategy. I've played enough of Triangle Strategy to absolutely love that game. It's in my top 5 of the year already. And that's without even finishing it. And that's only playing like 10, 12 hours of the game. So really enjoy that. Now, this is where things get crazy. I never got too far into Cyberpunk 2077. So that's my next game on the list. I got to knock that out. And then I figured, okay, that one is about a 20-something hour game I'm seeing, 20 to 30 hour game. I can probably kick that one in like 2 or 3 weeks at most. So no issue there. If I really put my head down, I probably kick that out in like a week and a half. So all that should put me through to November. After that, things are going to get kind of crazy, trying to figure out because there's going to be new RPGs popping up. Obviously, you have not Starfield, thankfully, but God of War is going to be around that time. You got a new Pokemon game. This is where I have to finish Dragon Quest 11S. So on the Switch, I have that version, which is the best version of the game. I've got to finish that. That's on my list. So that'll probably be tail end of this year, beginning of next year. And then on top of that, after that's done, I'm finally going to get back into The Witcher 3 and finish The Witcher 3. So my RPG goodness, and again, like I said, this is going to be Xenoblade 3 is going to be played throughout this whole time frame that I'm playing all these. So Xenoblade 3 is probably going to be another 100+ hour epic. So for me at least, right? So from now until I'm going to say March of next year, my RPGs are set. I'm going to start Pokemon when that game comes out, right? Whatever the Crimson Chat, whatever that's called. I'll be starting that game. So that's another thing thrown in there. But at least like I can definitely say from now until March of next year, those are my RPGs. And it's a mission. A lot of folks are able to knock through this stuff. I'm not because of timing. But again, having something like a Steam Deck, having the Switch, lets me watch TV and check out this stuff. So I'm curious. Feel free to leave in the comments. Hop in the Discord. Let us know what games are on your. If you have an RPG hit list, what are those games that you gotta plow through? Definitely let me know, because I think it's an interesting topic. Speaking of topics, that's basically it. We're done. We're done for today. A nice short show, 38 minutes. Oh, Playland's on there. Hey, Playland. Check out Playland's review of Floppy Nights. Kind of finished up a review on, did a review for us. So check that out. It's kind of a cool sort of turn-based card strategy type of hybrid thing with a real fun, energetic twist. So yeah, check out his review of that on the site. But with that said, that's it. We're packing it in. It is Sunday night. It's 9:40. And I'm gonna go play some video games. Check us out again, sidequesting.com. There you go. My tongue's too big for my mouth. Sidequesting.com. Sidequesting TV on Twitch. Sidequesting on YouTube. Do all the rate, review, yada yada yada. PAX West is coming up, so check out the PAX West party list, which we started. We've already got like 4 events on there, and August is tomorrow, so we're not even in August yet. So it's good stuff happening. With that, we'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Peace, love, recycle.